Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. And I'm your host, Franca. Tonight on the show, I have Sajo. Sajo, how are you doing? Hello, Sajo. Is Sajo with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening. I'm good.
Sajo, Sajo, no, take it easy on me. Haven't you missed me? Take it easy, slow. So just pamper me a bit.
What exactly did I do now?
You have been calling me your baby. Why don't you call me your baby now?
Oh, baby, I don't, I cannot remember using that word.
Sajo. Okay, so I have Jacinta. I was actually laughing before coming into the show. Jacinta wants to kill me in the studio. Jacinta, how are you doing? How are you doing?
Fine. I'm fine. Oh my
Oh God.
god.
So before you came in, and I told Sajo that Jacinta is running a bit late. I'm like, it takes a while for her to come. Does it take that long for her to come? you know.
And and no, 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 no.
Yes, it
I was
does.
very
It actually
specific.
does,
She said,
I
yeah,
asked
it
you to
does.
leave.
Sajo, she said,
I
yeah, it
asked,
does. It takes a while for her to come.
is it because of the distance as to where you live, or
Everything, it just takes a while. Except you know the way around it. More like it. Except you know the way around Lekki.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. It's
yeah,
past
there
10,
was
right?
traffic around.
It's past 10,
There will
okay.
have been traffic around her area. So
Okay, so we get it. So today we're discussing rebuilding life after a divorce. And I think it's a bit of mixed feelings because it's painful and at the same time sort of empowers you. Most times, you understand, as a woman, it kind of empower you to think that you can be on your own if you're able to go through it with ease.
I think it depends. Not everyone. I don't think every woman who's been through divorce sees any sort of empowerment. Some
No,
women
I
never
said
see
it's I
it.
said for some,
Oh,
sometimes it's
yes.
painful,
Okay.
and then sometimes it could be a form of
Yes.
empowerment. Yes. Okay, so Sajo, what would you say it's life after a divorce? Like, because you're a lawyer, you're a family lawyer, and I know you've
difficult.
handled. Can you please expatiate, please?
Now you see, the truth is that uh, from post dissolution counseling we have engaged in, a lot of people go into this proceedings, what would, for purpose of this discussion, called divorce, believing that that is a process towards reconciliation. And then once they file and there's an answer to the petition and issues are raised, egos are put to play, they lend their ears to detractors, and they begin to see the person they once professed first love to as an enemy that they go into battle. Now, nothing prepares you for the day the decree NISA is pronounced. Now, the decree NISA is the judgment saying that your marriage is dissolved. Now, on that day, most people are not faced with the reality. You have to practically restructure your life. And in course of this discussion, I will shed more light on what that restructuring will do to a lot of men and women. I mean, this is not gender selective now. So, but to your question, building life after dissolution of marriage is a very, very difficult terrain to ride on.
Okay.
You can only go far. You cannot return to your old self. You can only go far in restructuring and rebuilding your life if you have a very reliable, dependable, and strong support system that will help you navigate those difficult hours post dissolution. Because in course of the divorce proceedings, if it's messy, and it could be very, very messy, a lot of things will be revealed. There will be a lot of betrayals, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of secrets that was between loved ones, a lot of things you said in trust will be revealed to the public and in the open courts. And no matter how strong you are, you'll be devastated. You can hold that on through the proceedings, but once that judgment is delivered, it will hit you. Another phase that you may find very difficult to navigate through would be your finances. I could break it down a little. I know that our time is okay. We still have a lot of time, but in your finances, if you were living in a rented apartment, you will most likely rent another apartment and begin to pay another rent for this separate family. Pay bills here and pay bills there. Have living costs here and have living costs there. So if your finances are not improved at the time dissolution is pronounced, then that will seriously impact on whatever you're earning negatively. And then you could also be faced with the challenges of emotional imbalance, trust. Any person that comes towards you now, you are seeing the person as Franca or a Jacinta. Oh, that's how Jacinta smiles before she throws the jab. Oh, how can I trust this person? Everything I said to Jacinta while we're married, she revealed in court. So you will be faced with all of those crises. Or it could be a Francis, not a Joe, because Joe won't speak. It could be a Francis, and oh, Francis, no, no. And then unconsciously, once you see that name again coming with the love stories or pick-up lines, as ladies would rather refer to it, you're like, no, 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 I've walked this path before. So you would a lot of self-doubt, you deal with a lot of trust issue, and
Okay, so Sergio, I hear you loud and clear, and the part where we say it gets dead messy. So is it that a lot of people do not know? So people go into divorce or get into divorce not knowing what it entails. They just feel that, oh, do people actually go start a divorce process thinking that it would help resolve whatever it is they're going through?
yes, people do. As a matter of fact, a lot of people hope that in course of the process, they'll be able to express their displeasure, have conversations, and possibly talk things over. And the law enjoins lawyers. I mean, it's compulsory that we try to reconcile them.
Okay.
So,
but you also
it is in
mentioned
that.
that. So you also mentioned that it gets really messy. People have to say a lot of things. So it is not optional. If you choose not to, because you said like a Sergio would not speak. So is it possible for you to go through this whole process and then you don't get to expose a lot of things?
Yes, it's possible. But again, if what you need to expose is the ground that you need to rely on to get the dissolution, then you have to say it. For instance, if your chief grounds for dissolution is adultery, you have to say that my husband, my wife committed adultery with Mr. A or Mr. B. And you have to give details. It's not like the movie thing that you guys watch and say, oh, he has signed the divorce paper. You have to go into the witness box and prove your case that you satisfy one of the conditions in section 15.2.
Okay. Okay, so life is difficult. Jacinta, we've heard that life is really difficult after a divorce. What's your take?
Yes, I do. I think I would say yes. I would say that life is difficult because
I might
you
always
have.
struggle to hear Jacinta.
Okay, I'll try to speak up. So yes, I agree that life could be difficult, and why? Because you see, when we get into marriage, can you hear me? When we get into marriage, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
Sergio, can you hear her?
No, I cannot.
Can you hear me now? Something was
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, you can hear you,
Since-
yes.
Okay, so when people get into marriage, no one gets into a marriage to be divorced. Let's be honest, you know. And by the time, and divorce happens at different times.
Okay. I think they're having, so I think, just hold your thought. I think we're having a bit of technical issues. Let's quickly go on the break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Heartlines will be right back.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m., so engage with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I know see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so please note that you can send us a message on our WhatsApp number 08190384663 or call in to join the conversation on 07025007774 now 07014242420. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Okay, so before we had slight technical issues, Jacinta was about to say something. Your thoughts on
Yes.
rebuilding?
Okay. Okay. So when people get married, yes, they don't get married. They don't. No one looks. No one prepares their mind towards a divorce. No one wishes it upon themselves. You know what I mean? And because people get divorced at different stages of their life, so it's a different experience for everybody. So when we get married, or when we're in a relationship, because I'm not married, so I'll just try to equate it to a relationship. So we become comfortable where we are. We start to build our lives. We see ourselves. It's more like this is it for me. You know what I mean? This is it for me. And everything you do.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m. So engage with us.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so we're so sorry about all that. So we're discussing rebuilding your life after a divorce. And Jacinta was, I'm sure you're all over the place right now because of the whole, so you want to take it from a lot of people go through certain things. Nobody goes into a divorce. Nobody goes into a marriage planning to be divorced. So we agree that so many things happen. Like Sergio mentioned that, people actually go into a divorce or to start the process thinking that it's something that would solve whatever problems they're having.
That will lead to reconciliation.
Reconciliation leads to reconciliation. So, but I don't understand why it gets to that point where, they begin to, it gets really dirty.
Very, extremely.
Because I've spoken to someone who said that I do not wish
divorce for my
enemy.
Yes, I hear that a lot.
I hear that a lot. And I'm wondering, how bad is this thing?
Okay, so let me take it from this angle, financial angle.
Okay.
Most of the time, and let me tell you, like Sergio said, of course, some people get into it thinking that, okay, the man might come around and then they resolve whatever matter, then throw it out of court. You know what I mean? But that's not always the case. When the man now says yes, the other woman is like, oh, really? Oh, okay, let's do this. The problem, why it is dirty, and that's why a lot of people settle out of court, so that they don't air their dirty laundry in public, is because before she even files, he's surprised that she has actually been putting together documentation for the past maybe 1 year or two. It already shows you that she's been out of that marriage since 1 year or two. And then so many other realizations. These are when the emotional, strain begins to, especially after the whole divorce process, meaning that there was nothing even between us all along. She's just like, I've been living with an enemy who's been gathering information. Because most time men don't want to give They don't want to give out what they have earned. They believe most of the women most of the time don't deserve it, no matter what. So they find different ways to, cut her, give her nothing, if possible. Yeah, if you look at days years ago, our parents, not our parents, but yes, let's say our mothers then they left the house with nothing, literally. When did women start going with properties and things like that? So see, men still try to find a way to get as much as they can, or hide as much as they can so they can give her. So that's where all the dirty linen starts to happen. Maybe if he slept with their daughter, she will say it. Oh yeah, if he slept with the house girls, she will say it. She would even, sometimes it's so bad that they would not, if it's so bad like incest, like I mentioned, they would then want the girl to testify in court. Because that's a huge ground for a divorce and a good settlement,
Okay, so Sajo, I'm trying to understand something based on what Jacinta said. So two people, I understand. So if you're trying to settle, and then you think by asking for a divorce, it would lead to you settling with whoever it is you're dealing with, and then it now gets dirty. Do you think people come back from all that?
What to then
Come back from all the things that has been shared? Do you understand? Because the other person will be hurting.
That's what I just said, that it's a dirty experience. Like, it is something he doesn't wish. Like, it's really bad. That it's not in any way. It's not a good thing.
Okay, so but so you said most of the time what Sergio was explaining is most times what really happens, the pain and the difficult whatever the process is maybe lack of finances.
Of course.
And then you're feeling bad like about everything that happened. But finance
Betrayal.
is betrayal and all that. But finance is a major problem. So if you say that people get dirty because they want to get more from the man, is that why they get that dirty?
Oh yes, most of the time.
Oh really?
Yes, and that's why you see that when there's a good settlement, nobody says anything. Everything is peaceful. If you look at all the kids, so it could also be that maybe the man wants to take custody of the children and the woman doesn't want it as well. Then of course it's dirty. That's if there's no sort of, if everyone is balanced financially. But most of the time it's always finance. It's always trying to take,
Or if you go to court with someone who is not financially stable, what are you fighting?
Financially stable, it depends. If the person has kids with you, the court will still one way or the other tell you to take care of your children. They don't care how you get the money.
Okay, so it's basically for the man. So Sergio, you say, so basically when we speak about finance, it's basically the guy who has to do a lot when it comes to finances.
That's if the woman doesn't have as much or more than him. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So for the man most times is dealing with the finance if you're not financially okay. But what happens to the woman?
In what sense?
Like, what does she have to go through? What does she go through after a divorce? Because for the men, they're dealing with the finances most times.
The men also go through, emotional hurt and betrayal and so much more. They do, because like you said, it depends on how much was spilled out there. Because don't forget, he has to protect his ego, his reputation, and so much more. Like the example I gave, you're saying that he slept with your daughter, and maybe that's a hidden secret in the family. Or it could be that even maybe his father is not his father. All those little things you guys have shared in intimate moments. Now it's all out there in the public. So it's not just financials alone. He will feel betrayed because you want a certain house and certain whatever. And then that's why you have to, play the card. Because your lawyers will tell you to play every card you have available. Every card you have available. Because you will not win. Because a court process is about evidence, what you bring forward. That's all. Nobody cares how you feel. It's what is in front of the court.
And because you're angry at that point, you're just willing to win.
And you want to take.
Do anything to win.
Yes, and you know that this is it. If I don't take now, I'm done for. If I cannot, and then, women, we go into it emotionally. I have spent, especially maybe you gave all your life, maybe to taking care of the home, raising the kids, and being there for your spouse. So maybe you say, oh, I've spent all 30 years of my life. And maybe the man wants to leave you with nothing. Franca, come on, we are human beings. And maybe you know a very dirty secret. You even have evidence. That's why you see that a lot of women would pay, what are those people now? Private detectives to go and follow their husbands for evidence, because they know that this man, if he leaves me or if I leave him, he will give me anything. So they want to make sure they take as much. So you don't blame people sometimes,
About blaming, it's just, I'm just thinking, why go through all the stress?
Why won't I go? Come ask a question. Why won't I go through the stress if I've given you my 30 years, and you want to leave me with no penny?
No, but see, let's look at it from. I am not disputing the fact that, but for me, I'm thinking, okay, so you have lived with someone, and then you decide. I don't know who is going to ask for the divorce. If I'm the person asking for the divorce, I don't want to be with this person anymore. What if the person doesn't have anything?
Then fine. See, it's an individual thing. If you want to leave without taking anything from him, why not?
Okay.
You can. It's your choice. But if you think that you deserve, entitlement. You know the way entitlement can be. It's like a force. It's like a power that rides everything about you. So if you feel you deserve something, you feel cheated. So it's left to you. It's not something that you must do.
No, it's something that's built from anger, because it depends on how if you feel
cheated,
and then the guy is not feeling any form of remorse or anything, and you be like, you know what, since you're trying to, I'm going to deal with you.
So you see,
I get it from that point of view.
Yeah, and you could be in that situation. You never know. You might not want anything from him, but just to prove a point and take from him for doing this to me, which is resentment. Then then before you know, you start going through that line.
Okay, so Sergio, is it so? Sometimes I'm looking at. Okay, so they have to do all that, the whole drama, because maybe they still have young children. But I hear that people in their 60s, late 60s and 70s actually filed for divorce at that time. So, Sergio, what happens to those couples? Because what are they now dealing with? Because I'm sure the woman has grown-up children. They have grown-up children, kids already. So is it still the same thing they experience like the younger people? Is it the same experience?
Let me quickly correct and then address some of the issues that Jacinta raised. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, it is not the law that the man will make provisions for the family or the man will spend money. The position of the law is that the one who has more will give, so that they can return to the state they were had the divorce not occurred.
Okay.
So if the woman was earning 10 million and the man was earning 1 million, or maybe the woman was the breadwinner of the family, then the woman will keep providing for the family. Though in Nigeria, and I think in most African states, the man ego, will not allow them push that position of the law. Though I've had situations where I've argued even to the Court of Appeal that is the position of the law, and that the woman should take care of the man's needs. That said, it is also worrisome that, and worrisome, guys will see it as worrisome, but I'm sure women will easily align with Jacinta's position that a woman could become bitter because she's not able to take much out of dissolution and they begin to spill. And in fairness, without attacking either gender, it is always women who spill because they don't draw the lines when they are on that battlefield. They will say everything and they want to hurt you as much as they can. I didn't know until now that it is because of what they are not able to get out of the dissolution of the marriage that is informing that quest or that drive to spill things.
Not all the time. Not so. I don't think that's all the time. Anger.
When you comfort, yeah.
So, no, I said yes. I said you said that you didn't know before now that it's just because of what they can't get. That's why they spill. I said not all the time. Sometimes it's just anger.
That's what we said.
Sometimes it's just anger.
It could be out of frustration.
It could be out of frustration.
Anger about what exactly?
Different things.
It could be anything. Things. I'm not in support of spilling or saying things that are not necessary. But people don't handle things properly.
People handle things differently. And we should allow people handle it however they want to handle it.
The other thing I was going to say is this. Oh, I have spent 30 years with this man because Jacinta was speaking for and on behalf of women. I've spent 30 years with this man, and all these 30 years, What am I taking out of this marriage? You're not a cripple. You were not locked up in one dungeon for 30 years. You had your hands, you had your brains, you could have made money. There are very rich women out there, and there are professionals who have distinguished themselves in careers and who are married. So there's nothing that actually stops a woman from being the best she can be while she's married. And if you felt that in your marriage you could not attain that, I think 10 years is enough time for you to notice that and move on. But if you feel you have invested 30 years of redundancy, and for that reason you are entitled to what the man has acquired over years through his hard work,
I think
then you qualify as a gold digger.
Sergio,
No, Sergio, I think it's
Sergio,
relative.
I think you like to poke me. I think that's what you like to do. To be honest,
I like to what?
I think you like to poke me. No joke.
No. Okay, so I
No,
think
you
he
know
wants
what?
to hear
Yeah, because the thing is, what I said, like he just mentioned, yeah, is you cannot
I was
say that
trying
the
to
woman is a
drive
gold digger.
forward my point.
Impossible. You know what? And why would she? Why the redundancy? Why you not doing anything? We all know there are situations in some homes where the man will tell her, "Don't do anything." He will tell it as that as
No,
a
but frankly,
condition, as a condition
if you
to
were
the
in that
marriage.
situation
No,
and a
take me
man
out
told
of
you not to
it.
do anything, would you
No,
stay in that marriage
I
and
won't
not
even
do
marry
anything?
that person. I won't even marry that person. But a
Exactly.
lot of women
So the
do.
decision,
And we
the
cannot
decision to
now
stay
say,
back there is not of the man, but of the woman.
yeah,
She
but
decided to do nothing
No, but
because she's being fair.
Sergio.
see, that's a situation
If I
that I
come
have.
to you
That yes, and
as
this
a
is
client,
my situation.
yes, Sergio, if I come
Yeah.
to you as a client and I tell you that I actually am a graduate. I tried to do everything I wanted to do, but my husband spoke to me saying that, you know what, because
For
of
the
the kids,
kids.
don't do this, don't do that. I had to wait for a while, and then by the time my kids were ready to leave,
He
that
said,
time had passed. I couldn't work for anybody, so I opened a business. Even while I was doing my business, it's not like he was completely supportive because we were struggling. And then he starts to make money and then decides to begin to do things
Franca,
for his own,
let
for
us
himself
even,
alone.
Franca, let us even leave the part of business. Maybe by the time the kids were like maybe 20, the man now says he wants a divorce. He's not even giving me the opportunity to start a business.
Or
And he
something.
promised me
So,
that
Sergio,
when the
what
kids
I'm,
are grown,
yes,
then
Sergio,
I'll
what
start.
I'm thinking is not all the time. So what you're trying to say is it depends on the story. Mm-hmm. So it's the story that determines if the woman should get what she's asking for. I want to believe that's what you're trying to say.
I didn't want to discuss law today.
Okay.
I wanted us to understand the interests, the emotional and psychological needs that both men and women would have post dissolution,
Okay.
so that we know how to support them and how to aid them in the rebuilding process.
Okay.
But now you're taking me into core law. The thing is that you do not earn from a man's proceeds or what we term family property because you are a wife. That is not a right. You must show how you contributed
To the
to
success
the
of the man.
acquisition or development of that
But
property.
she was taking care of the
Now,
home.
the beauty of it is that the Supreme Court has expanded what contribution would entail. It's not just financial contribution, it could be psychological contribution, it could be emotional contribution, it could be. But the decision to stay back at home and not work will not be sufficient
Enough to get. So it has to be
say-
on those grounds of emotional support.
So you must show and you must prove with verifiable facts that it is because of XYZ that I was doing within this period that allowed this man to acquire this particular property, that particular property, and this other property, for which reason I am entitled to a share of that property.
Okay, that's the law.
Now the mistake, and this is for ladies, as I'm actually advocating for ladies on this. The mistake people make is that you would allow a human being, howsoever described, whether you call him husband, father, whatever, to extinguish your dream because he gathered people in some funny gathering and offered you a ring. For that reason, your dreams should die. No, I think you cannot wait. Marriage is not a pensionable contract where you wait for 35 years of service and wait to earn your
pension.
gratuity or your pension. No. While you're in that marriage, you should also develop yourself and insist that you develop yourself. Do not hope and wait. As a matter of fact, the reason that marriage will break up could be that one person is developing and the other one is not. And I'll give you instances. Now, if you, male or female, if you develop a particular point in your career as a man, the likelihood of interfacing with people at that level of opposite gender is 80%. Now, when you interface with people at that level of opposite gender, your wife is still at this level, and you come back home to, it will be difficult to relate with that person that you left at this level. So there will always be conflict. Why are discussing global economy in 21st century, or you are discussing the energy situation, the impact of the Ukraine war, the energy situation in the West? Should be discussing Telemundo or
India series, Sergio, please, I beg. Sergio, please,
African Magic Yoruba.
Sergio, please, I love Indian movies. I love Indian movies and those Korean movies. In fact,
so then the truth is that you guys can no longer engage. So what I advise people, you must grow together, both intellectually and professionally. Children are no excuse. As a matter of fact, no parent can raise children all by himself. So if a man says stop working, it's not because he wants to raise children, because there's an aspect of raising those children that requires his own time too. So if you split the time and he gives half and you give half, it's just that some women find comfort in saying, he married me, he should take care of me. Some women find comfort in saying, oh, why should I labor this much when I'm married to Mr. A? I'd rather sit at home or run a business that does not require me to put in so much because my husband takes care of my needs.
Okay.
And then you get to a point where you guys are no longer able to synergize. You can no longer interact. You can no longer understand each other's perspective or perception to life. And the man says, it's not working. And then you want to
in all honesty, I think there are different reasons why people decide to get a divorce, and whatever it is, what we want to actually, Sergio, you mentioned that you didn't want to discuss law today. You actually wanted to break down the emotional part of rebuilding and what people need in rebuilding their life after a divorce. So, Sergio, can you share that with us?
Okay, now, at the wake of dissolution of marriage, you are going to be faced with several things. You're going to be faced with emotional challenges. You're going to be faced with identity conflicts. At the point you would, no matter how justifiable your grounds for divorce are or how justified you feel, you get to a point where you begin to ask yourself the questions of, did I contribute to this? Are there things I could have done that I didn't do? You could go on and not forgive yourself for that divorce for years. And then if you, like a lot of women would struggle for custody, and then you have custody of the kids, which puts almost a stop to your life if you do not have proper support system. You get to a point where you can no longer identify who you are. You can't attend social functions, you can't do anything because you're the one who would make arrangements for kids to go to school, you're the one who will do school runs. When they come back, you're the one who will most likely discuss their homeworks with them, you're the one who will attend to school activities. While the non-custodial parent comes maybe weekends to take them, and he's the wonderful parent. Takes them to fine dining, they come back, they go to parks, go have fun. just for a few hours, and he or she brings them back to you. For some period of time, your life would almost be tied down. So what I say to people, decisions in dissolution of marriages, particularly the ancillary claims, are not emotional decisions. They are not related to anger or battles. Oh, I must struggle custody. No. If you know that you do not have the support that's required of you to still have a life and have custody of those children, do not struggle for custody. The kids are not your sole responsibility. As a matter of fact, they came to this world by your pleasure interaction. So you should both share the burden of raising them. Then you will also encounter the financial part. I've discussed that. You will see yourself being exposed because no matter how prepared you think you were, you get to a point where you realize that for a lady, I no longer feel safe. The cover over this roof is gone. I'm not exposed to the machination of men. And if you're also not careful, you become irritated by men, maybe because of your experience. So all of those put together, the proper thing to do is first of all accept that, look, this is my present situation. Soak it in, deal with it. Rebrand yourself, restructure your being, and realize that, okay, now I'm back as a single lady, but a single lady maybe with baggage and with burdens. I can no longer do X, Y, Z, so I need to rearrange myself. Live in a community where you have friends whom you can call on should you need to attend to other personal issues of yours. Oh, I can't be around for the kids. Can you stay by? Send your kids to schools that you can afford. Not the ones they were going when Mr. A was paying, because one day Mr. A may just say, look, and it becomes your burden. So send them to schools that you know you can afford, worst case scenario, and send them to schools that you have parents in that school that you have relationship with, so that in the event you're coming back late from work and you cannot come pick them from school, you have a parent that can help you support. So generally create a formidable support system that will help you in that rebuilding, because the first 3 to 5 years post-dissolution will be even tougher than what you left in the marriage. And just as a cap, because I know our time is running, I am not in support. Now, I need to make this disclaimer very clearly. I'm not in support in any form of cheating or adultery in marriages. It's a no-no. But you will discover that the moral stance that informed your judgment to dissolve your marriage because of infidelity would have weakened by the time you are not divorced, because you most likely now have to be the other woman that is giving problems to the marriages out there, because you are likely going to start now dating married men. So what you hated so much, you may now become the core engineer of it.
Okay, so Sergio, I hear you and I completely understand. But basically, from everything you have said, I think it's just from everything you have said, it's like it's the woman, you understand, that goes through more, a bit of difficulties. So what happens to the men?
No, sorry. I am addressing women because I said to you that I'm advocating for women today.
Okay.
You see, it is tougher for men, frankly. And it's tougher because men do not have support system at all. So most times he's going to internalize his pain. And for the very weak men, they would not channel their energy towards either overworking or engaging in negative habits like smoking and drinking, or generally womanizing, which will not lead them to early grave. So it is easier. The reason I'm more interested in having conversation around women, because most times they are the ones that would most likely have custody of the younger children. So my interest is not really about the men or women, but how to create a balance and mitigate the impacts of the dissolution on the children. So when I'm talking about women, it is actually how to protect
The
the
children.
children, the innocent children that your decisions, your irresponsibility has led them to having to fend for themselves most times.
Irresponsibility.
Okay, so as in yes, because so what he's saying is maybe if things were handled properly, it wouldn't have gotten that bad.
So wait, what if it was not the woman's?
It's
I
not
know
about
that,
the
I know
woman.
that it's both ways.
Yeah, so it's not about the woman. That's why he said both of them irresponsible behaviors.
Okay.
Yes, it's not about a particular gender.
Yeah, but let's look at it.
It is both of them.
What
It
are
is
women
both
who
of them
have
for
no
several
children,
reasons. You see,
or the children have gone off to the university, so they can start a life all together?
No. So what he's saying is why he's speaking.
No,
Yes.
I get it. I agree with his part because he focused on the women that had children.
Young
so I'm looking
children.
at what about the women who don't have children
Or
and
who
they're
are grown.
divorced?
Yeah, so Sajo,
or
yes.
who are grown, who are adults.
So how do they handle? How do they rebuild their life after divorce?
So yes, so I'm saying that it might not be around that, ideology of what he said of taking care of the kids, having to put them support system to help you out, and slowing their life down. It could even be something more like rebuilding, traveling the world, it could be finding herself again, because she could have lost a lot, in the marriage. Because of course it has not been good for them to be divorced. There must be some sort of, emotional strain.
That's why, I asked a question that the older people, they actually get to divorce. So how do they navigate it? Is it the same experience? That was the question.
No, it can't
I
be the
asked.
same experience
Yes,
because
so
there are no
asked-
children to cater for anymore. So
No,
now
but
I
that
can
really
want
forms
now I can want
that
to
really
write a
forms
book.
less than 10% of divorce dissolution of marriage matters
so
everywhere in the world. So
the older ones is about 10%, right?
less than 10%,
Less than
because at that
10%.
point, what exactly is there to struggle over?
Yeah,
So
but
of course, we still see them in court. You see 60, 65 years old, you wonder why they are doing this. And I had an encounter where the man said, I had to stay here to raise these kids because I know that this woman does not have the moral values to raise my children.
Oh, wow.
And the man went as far as saying that I do not want my name attached to this woman's name at all. And he reeled out the consistent infidelity that he has had to endure for 22 years of the marriage. But he said he could not leave because he knew that if he left, that would have impacted negatively on the growth and development of his children.
Oh, they were married for just 22 years.
No. They were married for, I think, about 40 years or 39 years.
But she
But he
started
said that
cheating.
the infidelity started that early in their marriage, and he had to endure it for this length of time, just for the children.
You shouldn't complain now. Women have been enjoying it.
What did your sister say?
it wasn't me. I told you. He's out for me.
He's out for you.
It wasn't me. I didn't say anything.
No, Haba.
It wasn't me.
Okay,
but you see,
but seriously, I personally think that all we see are the negative sides. What we talk about are just the negative sides to a divorce. Are there no positives
but
to a
that's what I was
divorce?
trying to just say to you.
Yeah.
Some people are not held back after divorce. That's the best thing that ever happened to them. They're finding themselves again. They're rebranding.
lying
They're
to
writing
you.
a book.
Sajo,
They're traveling
they are
the
not lying.
world. It doesn't always have to be one outcome. It doesn't. Yes, majority of the time, it ends up in ways whereby, it's emotionally
Raka,
draining,
any person
physically,
who went
financially, and
into
so much
marriage
more.
for
But some
marriage
people actually, that's the
cannot
best
leave
thing that
marriage
ever happened to
unthought.
them.
No, Sajo, Sajo, I totally understand where she's coming from. And
Any
why I
human
say
being,
that is
except she went in there for transactions.
no,
No.
If she
Sajo,
went
no.
in there for marriage,
No, Sajo, no.
No.
So, Sajo, it's possible that she actually went in there
With her heart.
with her heart,
Yeah.
and then it just turned out to be really bad. Like she didn't have children. Maybe for example, she didn't have any child in that marriage. She was subjected to a lot of things
Maybe
from her
abuse,
in-laws, abuse, and all that.
physical,
But
emotional.
she gave in 15 years without having any child in that marriage. And at the end of the day, she had to leave. Okay, Sajo, in fact, there's a story. I don't know the story in full, but my dad's best friend at that time, he's late right now. I remember him so well. He had a wife. So you see, at that time, my dad and his friends, and that's his friend, you know, they married out of their Igbos. And they went all the way to marry, you know, from the south, Yoruba women. And this particular guy, my dad's very good friend, he died way before my dad though. He married somebody, I still remember Auntie Bola. I was young. He married that lady, and I think they were married for a very long time. And she didn't have any child. And the story around it at that time was that because the guy's mom didn't like the woman, do you understand? But for whatever reason, Jacinta, she didn't have a child. After like 10 years, she chose to leave that marriage. She married somebody and started having children.
Oh, yeah, that's very possible. They're not compatible in that sense. He cannot fertilize her eggs. Maybe that's
and then
what it
he
is.
got married and started having children.
Yes, they couldn't. But you see, that's the thing. A lot of them don't go for such knowledge. A lot of men, your sperm can fertilize another woman's eggs.
So, but at that time, they will say, "Oh, somebody hold that more traditional or something,
your mother,
your mother
father,
or something."
Those nonsense.
But guess what, Sajo? In that scenario, the woman found happiness. Yeah, she loved the guy, but she didn't have any child, and she wasn't in good terms with her mother-in-law. She left that marriage, married somebody else, and started having children. Which is why that's my dad's friends. His kids are very young compared to us because
do you know that woman can put forth a facade of happiness, but that man is the only man that she can ever love in her life.
Sajo just believes that she cannot be happy after a divorce. That's just Sajo's.
I'm not saying no.
It's like your final answer.
After a divorce. I'm saying that
why does she have to put up a facade? Why? She can be happy.
She can be happy.
Extremely happy.
Maybe for her, children would have the fact that she has children had just given her another sense of joy. It doesn't mean she doesn't love the guy. Or she didn't love the guy. Right?
No, she doesn't. You see? Sajo.
Our time is spent.
Sajo, I don't know what to do with. I don't know what to do with you, seriously. Okay, so but your last thought, I think we have just 2 minutes. We have just 2 minutes. Sajo, what you want to say?
What I want to say is that first of all, the decision to marry is yours. The decision to dissolve the marriage is also yours. But please, if you must dissolve your marriage, do not expect so much from outside, because when you cross the fence, there's really nothing much to get from the other side.
Sajo,
if you can work things out here, work it out. If you cannot, if it's life-threatening, then you really need to go.
Okay. So if it's life-threatening and she go outside, we shouldn't meet anything outside. Is the grass greener on that side? Because he was domestic violence.
Yes, the grass is greener on the outside. The grass is greener on the outside.
In the highway. Sajo, see them in the highway.
Don't ever get stuck in a place because you're scared that there's nothing outside. Never do that. There's so much more opportunities outside, and when you get out there, you're going to get it.
Sajo,
this
she
is
don't
why
win
it
this
takes
one.
you time to come. For the show.
Sajo, I'm not gonna say anything. That's my thing. Sajo, you're wicked.
And I'm proud to come late.
For the show.
He said to the show. Sajo,